This is a screencast for those of you who needed a little bit of assistance on the National Hurricane Center scavenger hunt. And I'm not going to really answer the questions for you, but we will walk through the questions and I'm going to kind of point you in the right direction so that where you find your answers is a little bit more obvious for you guys. So I'm on the National Hurricane Center website right now. Today is Tuesday, the 8th of September. So this is after, we've originally assigned, given the assignment. But some of you sort of struggled, and I wanted to give you guys a chance to go back and improve things. So on your National Hurricane Center scavenger hunt, number 1 said to go to www.nationalhurricanecenter.noaa.gov, and it says click Archives. The Archives link is right here, and then it says Tropical Cyclone Advisories. So select Tropical Cyclone Advisories. It's actually the top link, and it will take you automatically to the current year. So the current year is 2020 for us right now. And 1A asks, how many named storms have there been this year in the Atlantic? So this year is 2020. If I was talking about another year, we'd be clicking on a different year. So in 2020, in the Atlantic, which means I only am going to pay attention to these storms because these are the Atlantic storms. I'm not going to pay attention to these because these are the storms that have occurred out in the Pacific Ocean. So if you are doing this as kind of a makeup or a redo, it is really important to me that you stop right now and out to the side, you make a note and you tell me the date and time that you are completing this assignment. Because, for instance, right now is the 8th of September, and when we did this in August, there were not some of these storms. So in August, I think we had gotten as far as Marco, okay? But we have had Omar, Nana, Paulette, and Renee join the list since then. So your answer to how many named storms is going to be dependent on when you're doing the assignment, okay? So make sure that on 1A, you give me the number of named storms, but you also tell me the date and time that you were answering that question. That's really important. All right, then 1B says, look at the number of named storms from 2000 to 2005. Okay? Oh, by the way, on number 1A, even though this one technically is just still a number, go ahead and count that for 1A. Just go ahead and count that in the list. Okay, back to 1B. Look at the number of named storms from 2000 to 2005. Oh, Miss Goff, where do I find those? Okay, look up here. Here are all your years. So we're going to start at 2000. Here we go. Click. And again, it says which of these years had the highest number of named storms in the Atlantic. I'm only worried about the list for the Atlantic Ocean. I'm not going to look at the list for the Pacific. So I could sit there and count all the names for each year, or I could just take a quick look through. Here's the list for 2000. Here's the list for 2001, 2002, 2003, so that's a definite winner so far, 2004, 2005. Notice I don't ask how many storms, I just ask which year had the highest number of named storms in the Atlantic. And I think that there is an obvious winner, although I'm not going to tell you what it is. So answer 1B. And then when you're ready, we're going to go to 2017 in the advisory archives. So we're going to come over here, 2017. Click on 2017. And it says you can look around in the graphics archive if you want, but please examine advisory number 23. I actually gave you a copy of that in the Google Classroom assignment, so you can just pull that up. It does take a little bit of time to find it if you go through the graphics archive, which is what I'm going to do. clicked on Harvey, and then I click on this link that says Graphics Archive, and then I have to go find the right archive or set of graphics. It's the 5-day with line, and I have to let it load. And then I've got to sit here and let it play, and I'm looking at the advisory numbers. The advisory numbers are down here, and they're changing. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop. I'm going to zoom my screen out a little bit so I can see my start and stop buttons. Okay. That's 21A, Advisory 22, Advisory 22A, Advisory 23. Here's what I need to look at. First of all, it says Hurricane Harvey. This advisory was on Friday, August the 25th, 2017 at 10 p.m. Central Daylight Time. This is advisory number 23, published by the National Weather Service, National Hurricane Center. Current information. This is the current information for where the storm is and what it's doing, according to this advisory date. Okay. Current information. First of all, they marked the center of the storm with this little orange bullseye. Center location, latitude and longitude, 28 degrees north, 97 degrees west. Maximum sustained winds, 130 miles per hour. It says it right there. Movement, northwest at 7 miles per hour. So the whole entire storm is moving at 7 miles per hour. But the swirling hurricane force winds that are inside the storm, spinning around, that's 130 miles an hour. And then this over here is just general information. When they give you a black circle, they are indicating that that is a tropical cyclone of some sort. Remember, tropical cyclones are tropical depressions with a D, tropical storms they would represent with an S, or hurricanes, which they would represent with an H. Or if there is an M in that black circle, that means it is a major hurricane with winds of greater than 110 miles an hour. Okay? But if you're being asked to find maximum sustained winds at this particular, like what are the maximum sustained winds during Advisory 23? You don't look over here at the ranges, because this just tells you what the range is for a depression, for a tropical storm, for a hurricane, for a major hurricane. You're going to look right here where it says maximum sustained winds. That right there, those are the wind speeds as of this advisory time. Okay? All right, and then what you're going to have to do is, so C says, what is Harvey's wind speed at landfall? Wind speed is the same thing as me saying, what are the maximum sustained winds? Okay, and then 1C also asks, what category hurricane was Harvey? In order for you to know what category hurricane it is, you have to take the maximum sustained winds and you have to go to the Saffir-Simpson wind scale. I'm not going to show you the Saffir-Simpson wind scale because it is included in this assignment in Google Classroom. So just pop open that Saffir-Simpson wind scale and compare your maximum sustained winds and figure out what category hurricane Harvey was when it made landfall, Advisory 23. All right, I'm moving on to 1D. 1D says Hurricane Ike occurred in 2008. Again, an advisory for Ike is provided. I put it in Google Classroom, so there's a shortcut. Just go click open the images and you'll see the Ike and the Harvey images that I need. It says both Ike and Harvey made landfall in Texas. What coastal city took a direct hit from Ike? Okay, so first of all, I've got to go back and let's look for Ike. You guys can take the shortcut and go to Google Classroom and pull these up. I am having to dig through the hurricane archives. Okay. Let's see. I think it's maybe this one. Yeah. Okay. So these images are older. That's why they look a little bit different. So Ike wanders across Cuba and into the Gulf of Mexico. And we're watching. It's getting close. So I am going to, so it's almost making landfall. This is at 12 a.m. This is midnight into Saturday morning, September the 13th. This is 2 a.m. Saturday morning, September the 13th, 2006. Okay, so that's probably the one I want. Saturday morning, September the 13th, Sorry, I think I said 2006. 2008. Okay? So right there is where it's making landfall. What coastal city took a direct hit from Ike? You're going to have to go to a map of coastal Texas and figure out the answer to that. I'm not telling you the answer, but when you look at the Texas coast, it should be obvious. The right answer is not Houston. Houston is near the coast, but Houston is not on the coast. Okay, so don't give me Houston. All right, then you're going to answer 1E. Remember that the black dots represent the future forecast positions. Okay, and if it's got an H, then at that future forecast position, they think it's still going to be a hurricane. If it's an S, then they think at that future forecast position, it's going to be a storm. A D, it's going to be down to a tropical depression. Okay? So you're going to look at Ike's future track, and you're going to go back and compare it to Harvey's future track, and you're going to tell me, or you're going to compare how much Ike moves off versus how much Harvey moves after they make landfall. Again, both of these images are given to you in your assignment, so go find them so that you don't have to dig through all of the archives on the National Hurricane Center website. Okay? And then once you're ready, join me for number 2.